Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David,
And I'm Colin.
and this is where we talk all stuff Star Wars. And in particular, this is going to be our big spoiler post show for the Acolyte Episode 7, entitled Choice. So, wow, we got, I think, what we predicted, that we're going to go back to Brendok. It was going to be the big flashback sequence, and did it? I'm kind of thinking back to everything that I saw because it was all kind of just given to us on a platter, pretty much what happened on Brenda. But before I think we get started here, let's definitely thank all of our top tier Patreon supporters, starting with Hayden Hauser, Darth Ace One, Liam McCallion, Chris Simpson, Kevin Leininger, Deb McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel, Maya Morris, Maka Tautala, Adam Haber, and Brad Mackey. Thank you all for your awesome and generous love and support for the podcast. And I think a couple more people will be joining us here in a second. But
Yep.
Colin, what are your thoughts on this episode, man?
My boy Kel Naka got justice, man. I like as soon as I saw him walk up, and then he was just like this. I was like, okay, we got stuff going down, and sure enough, he did. As soon as he turned on his lightsaber, I was like, I knew my boy was getting justice, even though it was bad intentions. It was. I'm just gonna say it. It was badass. It was so cool.
Yeah.
I was so excited to finally see him in action, and then knowing that Jonas, who played Chewbacca in the sequels and then in Solo, the fact that he was the one in the costume also made it even better. So I was so pumped, and all of the and the lightsaber fight was done in such a phenomenal way. It was fantastic. This show has had some great lightsaber fights, some great ones, and it was also great to actually see the other side of what happened to Osha and May, because in episode 3 we only got Osha and May's perspective. Now we got the full picture, and a lot of things make more sense. There's a lot of things I don't agree with the way that the Jedi handle things, and I think that's what most people are going to think, which that's going to lead into the way that Osha is probably going to like really connect the Chimera and stuff. And then I'm really curious of what May's reaction is going to be, because I don't think May is going to fully understand why they did what they did. So it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, overall, heck yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Greg? Yep.
So Craig 5 in here coming in hot. So Craig, you just saw the episode. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was good. It was interesting to see the other side of what happened, because they can't make the Jedi look evil, right? They can't make them look bad.
Right.
But
So
they did.
What?
But in a way, they did. They like showed like how they could not deal with the consequences of the situation, which is just, it just shows you what we talked about last week about there being corruption in the Jedi Order. You know, this is just a fine example, and it started early on. So yeah.
Well, their intent, at least Saul's intentions were good. It wasn't like, he was trying to protect the kids. He, would read through the Force and saw they were in danger. And then May said something about a sacrifice. So maybe he was afraid they were going to sacrifice the kids.
Yeah. Something I will say about everything that happened and the way that the Jedi approached it is that, yes, there is what May said, like about about everything with the Coven, but before that, Saul was concerned, and because it was something different that he's not used to, and it's just like, if something is different, is it really bad? Is it really bad just because it's different from something that you've seen before? And that was my concern, of just being like, they are approaching this in a really, really bad way, and they did not handle the situation at all, which caused a lot of people not to make it. But something else as well at the end of this episode is that I can't think of the Zabrakian's name.
Mother Coral.
Yeah, her. There's a chance she's still alive, and also everyone else in the coven. I don't think
was she not in that pile of witches at the
No, and then also all of those witches, they didn't actually die. I think they were just out of their trance, because if they did die, then Indira, she just massacred like 30 people at once. So I don't think they're dead.
So you don't think they're dead? Okay.
No.
I mean, that's possible.
But the place kind of like blew up and went down, right?
Didn't the place blow up or whatever?
I know certain parts of it blew up, but I didn't think the whole mountain exploded.
Yeah.
We'd have to take a look closer and see.
Not everything off screen is what it seems. So you have to think, if we didn't see them actually die, then,
yeah, are they really dead? Just like May's situation. So Musu Piota on YouTube says, didn't understand why Soul killed Mother NSA at the drop of a hat, but not Coral when she goes dark side shadow thingy. So I kind of understand why Soul did the whole kill shot maneuver, because he didn't know what was happening. It looked like a form of aggression. He's trying to protect children. He kind of had no choice in that situation. He was there, right there in the moment with the lightsaber.
Too, right?
And I don't even think he even knew if the lightsaber was going to affect anything, because she turned to like almost like smoke in a way. Coral was kind of far away from Soul, and then he just witnessed that, oh my gosh, he killed someone who was actually in agreement with Soul to take Osha to be trained by the Jedi. He made a huge mistake, and you could see how Coral was like attacking him and being on the offensive, and Soul didn't have the heart to defend himself properly and go on the offense on Coral, and he just knew he made a mistake. And yeah, I mean, where did Coral go? Now it's like, is Coral inhabiting Kymir's body? I mean, what's going on? I mean, where is she?
Or I wondered, and a lot of people I think wondered, is that his master?
Right.
Because if she wasn't in that pile of bodies, which I thought I saw her, but I don't know.
Yeah, it is 16 years later.
No.
It could be his master, because she views the Jedi as evil, and he was a Padawan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that's true.
So here's the thing: is that if that ends up being the case of where she ends up being the master, I'll be like, okay. But I think most of us are really, really, really hoping it's Darth Plagueis, because that's going to lead into the next season. But I know that the director, Leslie, said that this season is going to end in a way where it's not going to feel like there's going to be a big cliffhanger. They are going to end this season in a way of where it wraps all stories. That's how she pretty much describe the end of the season, and there will be small hints here and there for a potential next season, but nothing like a big cliffhanger, which is great. And I think it makes sense why she did that, just because of, there are some shows out there that don't get a second season. So if you end on of this season with a big cliffhanger, and for some reason this show doesn't get green lit, that's going to be like, well, crap. Now for the rest of our lives, we'll be wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I mean, even though later, the director would come out and be like, well, this was our plan for the future. And then, I guess I would close some books, but yeah. So hopefully we get some type of hidden Darth Plagueis, but we'll see.
So yeah, episode 7 was directed by Kogonada. Episode 7 choice, what we just witnessed. And yeah, just a heads up, we're going to talk all kinds of spoilers here, so just another warning. So Obi Fluff Kenobi, who was in the pre-show, actually, thanks for showing up there as well, on YouTube says, I give it a 7 because we had a Wookiee on the loose. I was waiting for arms to come off. I know Colin was waiting for arms to come off. We did get the classic choking, and Soul was getting choked out a lot like Lando did on Cloud City there, but I mean, Kanaka is an awesome character. So much potential, but unfortunately, unless we get like an origin story or a backstory, we are going to get a comic though.
Yes,
coming up here, or a manga.
Yes.
I think there's a manga cover, I
So
believe.
we did get we did find out how Torben got his scar. Honestly, I would wear that scar with pride. I would be like, oh, you know how I got this? From a Wookiee, and I survived. How have you been living your life? Like, I don't know. I would wear that with pride. But
Now
So
wait
you
a minute.
got
I have a question. Didn't Torben have like something actually in his eyeball that looked off, but it didn't look off in this episode, right?
right, maybe
oh
because it
well,
was a fresh wound,
yes,
and
yes.
yeah,
That
maybe
was
got
after
infected. Who knows?
he was like, I think he went blind in the other eye. I think that's what they were hinting at. Because of his pupil was kind of like gray and
Yeah.
like a different shade of color than his other eye. So I just assumed that meant that he went blind just because Kalnaka probably like really scratched his his entire eye. But something else as well for all High Republic fans, we finally got a reference to the great disaster that happened in the first book, which was that took place in the light of the Jedi, and that was when it was the hyperspace disaster, and all the ships were like crashing in different planets and stuff, and they were on that planet because they were confused because some of the disaster happened there, and then somehow the planet was thriving and all that stuff, and then we find out that the twins were a part of the Virgins. So yeah, I love that tie-in, and for everyone who is fans of the books, I think it was a great tie-in, because I think there's more stuff that has been mentioned from the books, but the fact that they mentioned something specifically from the first book was very, very cool.
So Zach has joined us.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
So what'd you think?
I liked it. It made me like episode 3 a lot more. I'm going to be completely honest. I hated episode 3, and this made it so much better for me. I will 100% admit to that.
All right.
But yeah, I liked it. I don't know. I think I caught the end of your conversation talking about the reference to the High Republic with the hyperspace incident at the beginning of the first book, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
I really like, though, just a little line like of how they acknowledge that the twins were too old to join the order, and I'm just glad they said that. I don't know. That just made me happy. Not saying it was perfect, but I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah. Also, the Virgins and the Force, which we got in episode 1. That was a cool reference to hear.
Yeah. Were they trying to test like vegetation and stuff to see if it was?
Yeah, because they detected a Virgins, and then they were trying to figure out where's the Virgins coming from on this planet, and then Soul went off and saw the little butterflies and saw the twins for the first time, and then saw the Force usage.
So the other thing is, they pretty much confirms that they were that Osha and May were a dyad in the Force. They didn't say a dyad, but they pretty much confirmed that in a way. And then they also said M count instead of midichlorian.
Right.
And that was also interesting because in the Bad Batch, they also did the same thing. They were not saying midichlorian. They were saying M count. And I know there was a lot of
It's a trigger
debate.
word.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of debate in when we got those episodes of the Bad Batch, just because they were like, well, they're saying M count. Does that mean midichlorian? Because they're not saying midichlorian. But right now, it's like it's 100%. They are referring to midichlorians. I don't know why they're afraid to say it though, because it's just like, come on. Like,
I mean, we love the prequels now. It's okay, guys. We can say midichlorians.
Hey,
so I want to get to some of these comments right here. Noah Richter on YouTube says, Mother Anastasia was very menacing in that convo with Torben. I really would have liked to see more of her. I thought that was pretty rad that she did that while having a conversation with the 4 Jedi. I was like, wow, that is pretty cool. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
I think the thing that bums me out is that we're not going to get more time with these characters.
There's season 2.
Well, I mean, they could always do more flashbacks, but I'm just like, again, they took my boy Kelnaka out way too soon.
They did.
Like, dude, he was a tank, man. Like, I loved seeing him in action. and
Yeah.
of seeing. Yes, we have seen Gunji with a lightsaber on screen. That was really cool, but from animation to live action, there's always a big difference, like in fights and stuff. And if I was Jonas, I would be smiling the entire time underneath wearing that mask, because it's just like it's a Wookiee with a lightsaber, and then any chance that you get to wield a lightsaber on screen has to be one of the best feelings in the entire galaxy. So I just know he was having a blast, and he did such a great job, and I was just so impressed on just all the lightsaber fights that they have done in the show. I didn't walk away after the episodes where there were lightsaber fights and be like, oh, okay. And these ones, it was like, this is some of the best lightsaber fights that we've seen on screen since the prequels.
Even with Corbin swinging his lightsaber around, like blocking the arrows.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
That was great. And something, because I'm a big lightsaber enthusiast, something that people don't understand. And I always see like memes and reels of being like, how did we jump from the prequels to the sequels of where we have lightsaber fights the way that we did? And the reason why is because Kylo learned from, he was pretty much taught by Luke, and Luke had a limit at what he knew from the original Jedi Order. And you had old Ben Kenobi, and then you had, Darth Vader, that, were fighting each other on the Death Star. And it was a robot fighting an old man. And I don't think Obi-Wan could do this without, maybe like popping out a shoulder or something. Like it's
he did 5 years prior in the Kenobi series.
9. It was more than 5 years. Zach.
Okay, sorry, You're right. 9 years, but still.
Yeah. So with that being said, there is a reason why the prequels and then Acolyte have that lightsaber fighting style. And then if you jump to Ahsoka fights that way because she is from the prequel era. She knows how to fight that way. She also taught Sabine that way. Kanan and Ezra both knew that because Kanan taught Ezra, and Kanan was from the Clone Wars era and the prequel era. So, of course, they're going to fight that way. But if you jump to the sequels, Luke really didn't know that. So he couldn't teach his, of all the younglings and Padawans on how to do the behind the back Anakin stuff. Like,
if somebody
no one really
was tuning in right now, they would have no idea that we just watched The Acolyte. Do you realize that?
I'm just saying I am a lightsaber enthusiast, so I'm just kind of tired of people saying like, how come Rey and
we gotta
Kylo
rein you in, Colin.
like
Come on, we're talking about The Acolyte.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a lightsaber enthusiast. I just had to say it.
Somebody tuned in and just said, "Wait, did they even watch the show? Did they know it was on tonight?"
Colin's got good points though, because Kel Naka was a force to be reckoned with. Though he was tossing Soul and Torben around like they were ragdolls.
Yeah, but wasn't that wasn't that Coral possessing Kelnaka? So wasn't that really Coral?
I guess you could say that, but at the same time, Wookiees
don't take this away from me, David.
Wookiees are stronger than the average man without the Force, right?
Wow.
So then I don't know.
I mean, she took over his mind, but I don't think she took over his attack move.
Well, it made me think of the fight between Dooku possessed by Mother Talzin and Maul fighting against Grievous and Palpatine in the Son of Dathomir comic.
Yes, I love
cool.
that. I love that callback. Just because of again, I'm about to go on a whole tangent with lightsaber stuff, so I won't get into it. But that is a good callback, Zach. Now, I thought this again. I was very excited about this episode, and I also said last week it just made sense that this was going to be the episode where it was going to be all the flashbacks.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that we got the perspective from all angles now. So now we know what actually happened. Did
everybody like those puzzle pieces? When we watched it, it feel like it flowed? Because to me, it did.
It did for me.
The biggest problem I had with this episode was how impulsive Torben was. To go
but
off
he's a
like
kid,
that.
Right? Because he's, I want to go home.
He really wanted to go home, man. What was waiting for him at home?
If I'm home away for 2 nights, I want to, just boogie back. I get that, but granted,
I mean, to be that impulsive, that was like something Anakin would do.
Well, and maybe Mother Anastasia was speaking to him more in his, I don't know. Like I don't want to go into too deep.
Now,
of a
I
rabbit
would have
trail.
liked that if we had overheard her whispering, like, don't you want to go home or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
that's also of the way that Torben was acting was kind of a callback to some of the way that the Padwans would act in the High Republic books. Just because every time that they would get sent out on mission, like most of them would be like, I don't want to leave Coruscant. I want to stay here because it's, safe and all my friends are here. And, this is where I've been my entire life. I don't want to go anywhere else, which is really interesting because I feel like if, like, for example, if Zach and I were in the Star Wars universe and we have the opportunity to go to actually go to other planets, I think our first thing would be like, heck yeah, let's go. Like, let's go travel the galaxy, not being like, I don't want to go to a planet I've never been before. Like, I just think it's really interesting of some of these Jedi who are like, on the younger side and they've never left the temple. It is like the opposite of Luke, right? So it's so it's just like Luke he did not want to stay on Tatooine when he was getting out of his teenage stage, and he was still kind of a teenager, but he was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go out and explore the galaxy. And it's just funny that Torben is just
craves not these things.
Yeah. I just think it's funny. So
Oh man, yeah. So getting back to the comments here, thanks guys for waiting patiently here. So Jordy1994 on YouTube says, if you don't see an actual body, are they really dead? We addressed that at the beginning of the episode.
Yes,
yeah,
we
I
did.
mean, Colin said it. I mean, it happened with May. I mean, we've seen it before in other IP as well.
We didn't see the body.
Right.
Can we go back and look at that part and pull it up and see if? Because I thought I did see her, but I didn't see her the first. In episode 3.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's not there. Moose Soup Yoda says on YouTube, should have had a light whip. Lots of laughs. I think we're gonna get that in the last episode. Obi Fluff Kenobi says they have a lot of questions to answer in one episode if there isn't a second season. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a second season, but Leslie Headland already said, we've said it so many times before, that she is not gonna end the show in a cliffhanger. You're gonna get a finite ending to this, so we're gonna get all the answers we should be getting. TJ asks on YouTube, was it any good? Yes.
TJ, of course. He watches the podcast before he sees the episode.
I mean, it's a valid question, especially with certain people voicing their opinions. I give you props, TJ.
So basically, if you've liked the previous episodes, it's pretty much in kind of that same lane. So Musup Yoda on YouTube says, I liked how Indara mentions how cultures use tattoo symbols to show significant themes. Just a mirror to planet Earth, cultures on planet Earth. I mean, I mean, you see like indigenous people from like remote islands do the same thing. They do the tapping of the tattoos. I think that's essentially like scarring kind of the skin more so
like
than actual like ink. Yeah.
With a Killmonger.
Yeah, for sure.
Kinda.
Noah Richard on YouTube says, I love the Light of the Jedi. Shout out when Endara referenced the hyperspace disaster that took place 100 years ago. Yeah, we just talked about that. That's something you might be able to mark off there on a certain bingo card. RevoCraft says on YouTube, why did Mother Anastasia turn to black smoke if she was going to let Osha go? I think that she did the turning to go help the kids. And Saul was confused, and he just thought it was an act of aggression, violence, and just randomly shoved the saber in before she totally morphed into smoke.
To like disappear, right? She started so I think
they started kind of coming to each other a little bit.
Yeah.
That's
why. Well, so that's why Indira did not want them to go in there without getting all the details. Yeah. And because Torben and Saul went in there without really having a plan except let's go save the kids, of course something's going to go wrong. Yeah, they were trying to explain like, hey, listen, we are coming in here with noble intentions.
Right. And you think after all those years, those 60 years or the few years that Torben had to think about it, he was like, man, this is all my fault.
And now I want more of a story with Saul just because it's just like, okay, so you pretty much just threw out all of your Jedi training throughout the door, right? Like, I mean, like all that is done. Everything that you and Torben are doing is not the Jedi way. And not only because of what you did, that is going to affect Kelnaka and Master Indira, because they had to go in and kind of save the situation. I don't agree on how they handled the situation after, where they're like, we're just gonna say there was a fire, and then they all were lost.
Hang on. Okay, if you want to take a step back, you could look at it like Mother, what's her name?
Anastasia Coral
had gone into his mind, and maybe that messed with him, right?
That's a possibility, yeah.
And so because she did that to him and took over, it may have scared him. It made him think, I want to get out of here. This place is, I want to go home. I don't want to be here. So she technically messed with his mind first before he acted so impulsively. But I would have liked to seen like some kind of whisper or something that signified she was still really affecting him. And that's why he acted like, I got to get out of here. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm a steel trap, not getting to me again. And then Kelnaka is not.
But he backed up, though. You saw that. And he was like, oh, gosh, here we go again.
Yeah.
But Saul wanting to take on Osha felt similar to me like Qui-Gon with Anakin.
Right. Because there was that love and like
care and defiance, too.
Right. Well, towards the Jedi way. Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm taking him on.
So I think we had a lot of questions about Soul's like nobility and honor, and I don't think that. I think he's actually more on the light side as comparison to the last episode. We thought he was going darker, and he did something bad.
I don't think he. I mean,
he was trying to protect
intentions.
Kids. I mean, that's the bottom line. He was trying to protect kids, save kids from this Force cult that they discovered on this planet that they thought was uninhabited, and they know the Force. They're using the Force. They are the Virgins. So a Virgins, they explained, is one of the most important things to the Jedi to actually find. And
there's an interesting point. They also said that witches don't have children, so maybe he thought they were going to be sacrificed.
Exactly. Well, they alluded to that.
They did say that everyone has a sacrifice or something like that.
Yeah.
So if they don't take on kids and there's a sacrifice, that's probably what he thought was going to happen.
And the Jedi are all about saving the kids, right? Especially with the Force users.
I was thinking about this. I'm not sure if you guys did, but like the Virgins with the Force that happened on that planet, do you think all the different women in that coven like migrated to that planet, or that they were part of like the Virgins in the Force and were potentially created through like, I don't know, like created on the planet somehow?
That would be insane. That honestly would be insane.
I don't think that at all.
How long had they thought that planet had been?
100 years from the hyperspace incident.
So I think Anastasia was jumping planet hopping and recruiting.
Yes, recruiting. Okay.
Cultists.
I didn't pick that up, but that makes sense.
They all ended up there. Yeah. That's what I interpreted from the situation.
Okay, because if they're looking at like the readings in the planet on how like, hey, we can try and get a reading on the Virgins of the Force that we've sensed or whatever through the vegetation, maybe that had something to do with creating more than we realize. But
something totally up with the vegetation on Brendock. Spicy Flagon on YouTube says the end was confusing. Why did all the witches die? I think because when Indara did the mind meld with Kelnaka, I think Indara was trying to rid Kelnaka of the possession from the witch, and in doing so, maybe she went overboard. Maybe Coral did a thing where she was actually maybe drawing power. This is just like off the wall speculation here for all
That's
my
what I'd guess.
I mean, maybe she was. I mean, maybe there was some kind of weird connection, almost like the battle droids, the battle droid ship. I mean, you take one out, you take them all out. Maybe it was that type of scenario. I mean, we don't really know, but
I mean that answers. Alive.
Yeah, that answers Craig's question of we didn't see lightsaber marks on the witches from those first episodes, so that's how maybe they perished, or maybe they just got knocked out, and then like Colin stated, we don't know if the whole thing came down or what exactly, but we were like assuming like the boulders hitting them maybe, or I don't know, some force manipulation.
if the witches were still alive, why at the end of episode 3 would May have gone to the tree by herself looking for Osha? You know what I mean? It was like she was alone.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, May is. I think she knows her power in the Force. She doesn't need adults. She doesn't need the rest of the Coven to do what she wants. I think she realizes that. And like she said at the beginning of this episode, and that one of the beginning episodes, she can always find Osha at the tree if she cannot find her.
Yeah.
Or
And
why wouldn't May have said, when Osha said you started the fire that killed everyone, why wouldn't have May said, no, they're not dead. They're still alive.
I don't think May cares about those that the Coven of Witches as much as she cares about Mother Anastasia, which is her biological mother, and
Yes.
the twin concept with.
Well,
I mean, she sees herself as Osha more so than Osha sees herself as one person in the two people, because they
So-
recite that little poem.
right, but Mother Coral, she's potentially still alive because
Right.
right.
Yeah,
It started
I
to
bet
turn to
she is.
smoke. Yeah.
Darth
That would
Plagueis-
beg the question: why on earth wouldn't she look for May? Like, I feel like all of them are force sensitive, so I feel like they would be able to sense each other. But then it's
Yeah.
just like, why didn't May sense Osha?
What if she
Because
went and
of-
possessed May and saved her
Well,
from the
she was
fall?
gone, right? I mean,
Well-
May could have fallen down, got knocked out, then
Yeah.
woken up after they left them planet entirely and couldn't sense her anymore.
How
And-
how did May also not die from that fall? Unless that chasm
Force.
leads to water or something, or someone saved her, or
Coral.
like, I mean,
She could have saved herself. She's powerful in
That
the
we
Force.
still didn't see,
yeah.
right?
There's a lot of
Well, if you-
questions.
Yeah, if you
A
think
lot of
about it, I mean, if
questions.
she got possessed by Coral, Coral's the one who had the vendetta against the Jedi,
Yeah.
and that could have been a big reason for hunting him down or possessing Chimera. I you know. that
Yeah,
would say why-
Dandelion on YouTube
Okay.
says, I haven't enjoyed the show, but this was the strongest episode in terms of writing. Should have been episode 1, though. Would have helped us care about the Jedi's death and connect with the characters. So, I mean, they were building it up. I mean, they didn't. I mean, this
Yeah.
was the way they wanted to tell the story, was do the whole Rashomon thing, which one of George Lucas's inspirations is Akira Kurosawa,
Yes.
the director that he pulled a lot of Star Wars from. Kurosawa directed Rashomon, which is something that Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi, and that is what kind of brought up the whole Rashomon film
Yeah.
aesthetic, and people started saying, okay, well then they're doing Rashomon stuff in the Acolyte, and that's kind of what they did. Leslie Headland said it's peeling back the onion. There's many layers, so this is one of the bigger layers that we got, and
I agree.
I think if people would have just kind of like held back their judgment a little bit and kind of waited to get the completion of the whole piece of art, then I think more people wouldn't kind of like knee jerk jump the gun and prejudge this show as much as they have.
I agree with you on that, because it's just like, you cannot really give a full rating on something until you get the full like thing, right? So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
Do you
because
think
things are different.
people
Okay, go.
are enjoying the show more as it goes?
Yes,
or
they are,
less
man.
As it goes,
Totally,
I'd
they are.
say more.
I'd
We
say
talked
more.
about it on the pre-show that after we found out who Chimera was, he was so cool. The red lightsaber, awesome moves, awesome helmet.
Yeah.
Brought in
Yeah.
Cortosis from Legends. All the hardcore Star Wars fans were like, "Oh my gosh, it's Cortosis!" But all the naysayers out there, when something's really like cool and neat, they don't talk about it, and their channels are a little bit more silent.
I will say, I think the thing that I was bummed about, which we shortly found out after the after the last episode came out, right? So what we found out was from the creator of the show, Leslie. She was just like, that planet, that ocean planet that they're on, is not Octo. It is a completely different planet. It does look similar to it, but it's not.
It's
we-
no.
I was really disappointed, because I was like, that would have been a cool twist. because that planet is the home to the first Jedi temple. Is what they were saying, like as was the canon from The Last Jedi. So
we need
that,
some sound
okay.
effects on this show.
Yeah.
You can buy a soundboard.
Oh, that's so
There
cool.
you go. You can do the little heart.
Maybe. Yeah, there it is.
There
Man.
we go. We need a
Yeah.
little sound effects, like a little snare drum. Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it every time there, Craig. TJ on YouTube says they did actually say the word midichlorian in Bad Batch.
I think they did. They teased us with the M count for a few. I'm pretty sure they did.
Well, no,
They probably did both.
I don't
I think-
know. I don't think they ever said midichlorian. I can. We have a Bad Batch group chat, and we watched the entire like thing. We did breakdowns about it, and I remember us talking about specifically how they said M count instead of midichlorian. I think
Maybe he's talking about
community-
season 1, and we just don't remember.
I don't think they ever said.
I don't think they ever
Ventress
did
says
either,
it.
because we would have made a
Ventress
big
says
deal
it,
about
yeah.
it.
I'll bet
Yeah.
I
money.
think they've
Ventress
said
says it
the-
in her episode. I'll
What?
put money down on it. That Ventress says it in her episode when she shows up.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
How much money, Zach?
Oh,
Because
Yeah.
I'm broke, I'll do $10.
All right, deal. All right, here we go. Hang on.
All
a
right.
10 spot. Obi Fluff Kenobi on YouTube says, I'm not so sure they are a dyad. I agree with that. That statement that even twins show different in testing hints that they are closer to the same. Didn't they mention something that they were one split into two? Yes, they mentioned that they were identical, more identical than the normal identical when they do the testing.
Yeah, that there was no
so
difference.
yes, that there was zero difference. So they automatically came to the conclusion that there was manipulation of the Force to create these two beings that were basically super identical.
Where is Darth Plagueis?
And so if it's so a dyad, I think, is naturally occurring in the world, and this isn't naturally occurring. It was artificially created. So
Well, they didn't
I
call
mean-
it a dyad in this episode, right?
right, but I think yeah, Colin mentioned that the whole dyad thing, and we've seen that, of course, in the Rise of Skywalker, and it's in Legends. So I mean,
Would it be considered natural between Rey and Kylo if Rey's like the offspring of a clone? That's not natural.
I don't know. That's Star Wars biology.
You
there.
have
I
to
don't
call
know.
Dave Filoni.
I was
He-
gonna
Yeah,
say, I have to
let's-
hit up the big wigs.
Colin,
and-
call up Dave Filoni right now. Get him
Yeah.
on the video.
Wait, what time is it? He said never after 10.
well, they're
Oh, it's
like
well
3 hours
before
ahead of
10
me.
if he's in Cali right now.
Oh wait, yeah,
Eastern
fine.
time,
Sorry.
Eastern
If he's in Pittsburgh right now, it's 10:22. So no way.
We gotta
You
wait
can't do
till
it.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Zach is correct. They actually did.
Oh,
Keep your money because I'm nice, but
Well, I mean that, and we never shook on it, but
I would have.
But yeah.
That's okay.
yep.
That's
Wait,
not the
wait,
Jedi way.
wait. Actually, nope. You're wrong. You're wrong. The actual quote is Omega's M count is still invincible to Project Necromancer.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
take your word for it.
yeah. If someone in chat has like definitive evidence, can point out the episode and
The only
The
way
time
I'd
code
look
and
is just
everything.
rewatching the episode. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's
that's
the
not
only way to
something I can do
really
right now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
determine that.
I'm doing my research right now.
fair enough.
So yeah, Noah Richer on YouTube says, I agree with Zach. This episode does put episode 3 in a better light. The Coven as a whole came off much more as a threat. Coral was still trash, though.
Yeah.
The actress really forces her. Well, see, the actress is foreign. English is not her first language. I think she's Spanish. So
Really?
I thought she was fine. I mean,
She's a witch. She's gonna be a little bit off. Are witches normal? They're a little bit wacky. Go to
Yeah.
Dathomir. Check them out for yourself. They're a little
Yes. I also loved the reference to the Night Sisters as well. I loved
Yes.
how Corbin was just
that
like,
was awesome.
wait, it has to be the Night Sisters, but that doesn't make sense. And then like they were showing like, no, it can't be the Night Sisters. And then so I was like, oh, okay. So yeah.
So Musup Yoda on YouTube asks a question. After tonight's episode, why is Soul so adamant to find a Padawan?
I didn't
Same
feel like
like
it was so much
Qui-Gon
a
was.
Padawan that he felt it should be Osha. And
Yeah.
to me, that reminded me of like Qui-Gon feeling the same way with
Yeah, for sure.
Anakin.
I totally
We know
agree.
how well that turned out. So
Yeah.
But he wasn't around for the upbringing. Like
I know. I know.
Soul was for OSHA.
Yeah, I really like that interaction that we had in the galley of the ship between Indara and Soul when Indara was like, "That's why you don't have a Padawan."
Yeah.
And I think that when people in seniority talk like that to people that are kind of in training or under them or not ranked as high, I mean, that can really get to someone. But I think that Soul was craving the whole master Padawan relationship, on top of the fact that I think he does care for people. He
Yeah.
does have that very Qui-Gon aspect to him. So I think with all of the reasoning mounting there, I think he saw the opportunity to go after this possible Padawan in OSHA. So I mean, it made sense to me. So
Yeah,
all kind
and I
of
think he wanted the Jedi to know about like a virgins of that nature, right?
right,
I
and of
mean,
course, yes, and that compounds everything that the
Yeah.
twins are the virgins, and he thought only one survived, which
But
was a big
Well,
mistake.
clearly, in this one, we saw a whole different, like that he was holding them up and he had to let one go,
Right, he had to do the Sophie's Choice thing, yeah, and he picked OSHA, of course.
well,
which
now
was interesting because
He did Sophie's Choice.
Well, yeah, I mean that's if
Yeah.
you've seen the movie, yeah, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Moose Supiote on YouTube says seemed like he was willing to lie to Indara about OSHA's test results. Did you guys get that from that whole sequence?
in what aspect?
I mean, I think he was more leaning towards trying to suggestively say, "Hey, look, she got everything right. This kind of proves my thought that I feel
but the
like I can
blood test
train her."
proved that.
Right,
Right.
right. The virgins,
I felt
everything
like
adding up.
Indara might be lying, but maybe she wasn't about that. They didn't want.
Well, if you
Right.
think about what she was, I thought she was lying about what the council told her. Like, hey, we need to back off, I guess.
I thought
But
the
maybe
same
not.
thing.
Maybe
Well-
not. They were old, and
Well, I saw, I mean, because when Saul showed that passion for trying to save OSHA and all of that stuff, again, a big thing about the Jedi is no attachment. And I think she saw that Saul was doing that. And then
Right.
when the council, I mean, again, we weren't there. It might have happened on screen because we didn't see that call, but I could have seen the Jedi Council being like, you know what? It might be a good idea to, do your best. But then Indira was like, well, if I give them the go, something bad could happen. And I could see Saul letting his feelings get in the way. So then when she walked back, she made the tough call of being like, the council said, no, don't do anything about it. Which again, this wouldn't be the first time that she's lying, because at the end, she's like, we're not going to tell the council. We are not going to tell OSHA what actually happened. You need to lie to that girl. So it's just like, there's all these elements of corruption that is happening in the Jedi. So just leading up to the finale, I'm really curious of what Master Veenstra's like role is going to be in this last episode, because a lot of people were thinking she's got some tie to Chimere, and then we still don't know what's going on with Chimere. I was hoping like a small hint of something with Chimere for the next episode. So I'm just like, okay,
and maybe we'll see Chimere
yeah,
find May on the planet. Maybe he was also sensing the virgins.
yeah,
Maybe he was there the whole time, and we
So
get
maybe
another
we'll see a
Rashomon
flashback.
aspect.
right.
Well, what if I don't know, I'm kind of tossing this out there. What if Chimere was possessed by Coral? Because if you think about it, he talks to Soul and he's like, you don't remember me. And he wanted the helmet on. He's like, you want me to take that off so you can read my thoughts? No way. That's how she got defeated earlier by
right.
Indara, was the whole
Right.
So maybe.
I agree with the thought aspect of that, of him taking off his helmet, but I'm gonna say, for You Don't Remember Me, they, from the episode like beforehand, or was episode 2, Saul and them actually did meet Chimere without knowing it was him. So I think that's what he was referring to.
Sure.
But the read your thoughts thing, I could see that being a connection to. Yeah. I definitely see your point of view on that. Oh yeah, man. No, I feel like there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered. I'm hoping that the last episode is around an hour. I know this episode was 48 minutes, even though it was about maybe 7 minutes of credits, but I'm still hoping that, it's around that time. That would be really nice to wrap things up, because it sounds like it's not going to leave on a cliffhanger. It's going to leave on an ending that's going to feel satisfying in a way where it's not like we're waiting for the next season. So
Right. Yeah. So Musup Yoda on YouTube says similar to Chimere's desire to find a people. Yeah, I mean, there is that whole duality that I think they're kind of cleverly doing there. Soul wants a people, Chimere wants a people.
The one episode left. What are we thinking?
Chimere backstory, flashback. Just like what Colin said, Chimere in May.
Yeah,
they need more time for flashbacks. I don't think they have it.
Hour and a half long episode. Spicy Flag on YouTube says, I feel like there's still some open questions about the twins. We don't know exactly how they were created. Was Darkseid involved, or why they were going to become leaders of the Coven? I think because the Coven saw them as super powerful, that they're just going to be the natural leaders. And of course, Anastasia created them. She's the current leader, and they were just going to kind of groom them to become the leader. And as far as your other ask, Darkseid involved. So I don't think the witches see the Force as a light in the dark. They just use the Force, to me.
The thread.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thread. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Pardon me.
They didn't talk about that at all in this episode. Granted, it was mostly from the Jedi's point of view, but
and TJ screaming at y'all guys. They do actually say the word midichlorian in the Bad Batch.
I actually just sent the clip to Zach. Zach actually has the clip, and
that's not a Venmo payment for $10. Just kidding.
Oh, well, Zach,
no, I'm just kidding.
I want to say, Zach, watch the clip, but it does state that she said just because you have a high count doesn't mean.
Yeah.
So she does not say midichlorian.
So TJ,
go watch
says,
the episode.
Go
watch the episode.
I don't know, man. I feel like they never said midichlorian. Because we would have made a big deal about it on the podcast.
Well, because I remember watching breakdowns on, like, listening to our team and then watching other YouTubers talk about it, and people brought up the Leonardo DiCaprio meme when Ventress came in, because he said it, but like, I don't know. I could be. It's past my bedtime, right, guys?
Maybe.
I don't freaking know, so.
Yeah, so Musup Yoda on YouTube says Soul had some serious Free Solo vibes going on tonight. Are you talking about the Academy Award-winning Free Solo documentary about Alex Honnold when he scales mountains without like ropes or protection? I don't know.
That was a little bit weird for him to scale that gigantic. So that.
Well, he's a Jedi. I mean, there's no fear in doing that type of thing. Nova Richard says on YouTube, in defense of my boy Soul, I've never seen black smoke floating in the air and felt like I was in a safe space environment. I mean, yeah, what is he supposed to do? I mean, he has a saber. He's supposed to protect people. What is she doing? I mean, she's turning into black smoke. I mean, it's like...
My wife said something similar, because she was like, well, why did he stab him? And I'm like, think about it being a tense environment if you're in the like position of a cop with like a gun pointed at a suspect and like like, and you have the itchy finger, or I don't know, that could be a bad comparison, but
yeah, we've been referencing the good cop bad cop type of mirror that this series has, and I mean it's present in a lot of situations here. Obi Fluff Kenobi says, I'm enjoying the Soul as a character. They are making him more relatable as someone who has made mistakes and just trying to do the right thing. Curious if he gets a redemption next episode. I don't think he necessarily has to be redeemed in a way, because I don't know, man. It was just a mistake. I mean, he killed Anastasia, but I mean, he was doing what Jedi do in a way. I mean, he didn't know if that was an act of violence or what was going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's another being in the galaxy that can do that, turn to smoke. I don't know.
Talzin.
I saw something similar happen to General Grievous. He turned to smoke.
Well, Mother Talzin did that in I believe when Grievous came in and like the grandmother was working on the cauldron or whatever, and Mother Talzin was there. I think she just vanished, and then she comes I could be wrong, but I
Were
know
Jedi
she-
present?
Wow. I mean, that must have been 10 years ago, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
like it was probably like Clone Wars season 5 or something, right?
I think it was 3.
Okay, this is interesting. Revocraft on YouTube says May was under control when she started the fire, so I'm thinking Chimera was there and was the one that saved May. That's
Was
a
she under
possibility, but
control?
also another possibility is maybe Chimera like exacerbated things and like messed with the engine on that mining place. Maybe he was kind of manipulating things in a way. I mean, there's that. If they do the Rashomon thing again.
It's certainly possible that he was there.
Oh, we've left Kenobi on YouTube says, does Chimera play a part in the creation of the twins? I don't think so. I that never occurred to me, but
No? Nah, I suppose probably not.
It wouldn't be force related, but
Okay, so do we think that Chimera
David
is the
touches-
master or the apprentice?
he's
I
got
think-
okay, so I think it's plainly stated if we just see it for what it is, he's looking for an acolyte. He's not looking for an apprentice. So I think maybe he's the apprentice trying to kill his master. And Leslie Headland has already said we're going to see multiple Sith.
Unless it becomes OSHA.
Unless she's lying. I don't know. Yeah.
Or OSHA.
Right.
yeah.
So TJ said, yes, they did. Asajj Ventress said the actual word midichlorian.
I
So
love this. This is so funny. We lost Colin. He's immersed into checking into this.
he's deep in the Jedi archives. Noah Richard on YouTube says English isn't Soul's first language either, and that dude crushes it.
I was gonna bring that up too.
His acting
kills
is
it.
terrific. Yeah, it was a great cast. I mean,
Yeah, he's great.
yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
TJ says I've just checked on the Bad Batch season 3, and Asajj says midichlorian level when speaking with Omega. Okay, so I mean, within all the Star Wars knowledge that we're constantly obtaining, I guess that just
Can we get a
forgot about that.
timestamp, TJ, in the episode? If you're
TJ's
checking?
gonna give us a
While-
timestamp.
while you're in there.
So Adam Locke on YouTube says, I think Soul has shown a more fatherly role with Osha than a master role, just kind of like Qui-Gon used to do. His real desire is to have a child to care for, not so much a Padawan. He's essentially adopting her. Yeah, I agree with that, 100%.
Yeah.
TJ says, here's the link. It's near the end of this clip. Countdown City Geek says M Count has also been referenced in the Mandalorian season 2 by Dr. Pershing. In my opinion, part of Filoni's side agenda to correct the fans' past concern of the prequels.
I think it's got potential to add more value to the somehow Palpatine returned line.
I think
it's
just
planting seeds for that.
Yeah, it might just be a term that's used for midichlorians by like doctors and physio people
that's
that
for sure what I think.
they
it is,
kind of
too.
want to hide what they're officially talking about, maybe in some way. Moose Soup Yoda on YouTube says, "Hope I'm wrong, but I could see the last episode ending with May fighting who she thinks is the master. Season ends with awesome lightsaber battle."
I would like to see one more lightsaber battle.
May
Still
fighting
asleep,
or
but-
OSHA?
I would think
I'm thinking
OSHA,
that
unless OSHA
OSHA's
gets
gonna
killed.
kill May. I'm thinking that OSHA is going to kill May.
I think that is a popular opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just a big thing that's probably going to happen. But
Can I say neither, and we get a rematch with Soul and Chimera? Just gloves off and let it rip.
Yeah, Moose Soup Yoda on YouTube says May kills the master, but it's OSHA wearing Chimera's mask.
It was an accident. I can't say anything. I'm sorry. I accidentally turned on the lightsaber near you.
TJ says, watch the clip link I sent you.
okay, TJ, go to bed.
TJ says
The
the only
reason you want him
reason.
to go to bed is because he's proven someone wrong here.
Hey,
Well, no.
TJ.
So I will say, I will always admit when I'm wrong. I did find the actual line that says I can't determine your midichlorian levels without testing you. So that did happen. But it's interesting because not a bunch of us really talked about it because of
We probably just don't remember, man. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
we've
almost
heard
died.
metaphors before.
Like I like almost died a month
Yeah,
ago.
Colin
so,
almost
yeah.
died too. So
Yeah.
So TJ, who has told us this in the past, maybe we've forgotten, just like the metachlorian thing, but he lives in the UK. TJ says the only reason I haven't watched the Acolyte episode is because I live in the UK and it doesn't come out till 8 a.m. Which is weird because Disney Plus drops everything at the same time. So I don't
Get a VPN, bro.
But he does watch our pre and post show. So thanks for all the watches and likes and listens and stuff like that. So Adam Locke on YouTube says, not sure what will happen next week, but I love the potential of Kymer's character and hope he lives to be developed further in a future show season. Yes, I agree with that. I want to see more Kymer. Manny Jacinto was great. He went through a lot of work to change his body, to learn awesome lightsaber maneuvers, and he's a great actor. He was really great in the show, so I definitely agree with that.
I think that, again...
So
I
TJ
really
now says he's not in the UK, but he loves our videos. So
okay, well then, you know what? I don't know if I can believe you anymore. So, yeah.
I thought Colin was going to say, but you know what? I love you too for loving our videos.
I also love you too, but I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. You are just stirring the pot, TJ. I don't know why, but you are.
Button pushers and button pushies.
I think, you know what? I
He's
think
the
this
mother
was
coral
all a
of the viewers.
distraction from TJ to keep us from talking about the Acolyte. We have talked about every other show or movie besides the Acolyte so far.
Do you know the name of our podcast? Do you know the name? Okay, I was gonna say it's stuff. It's Star Wars. We're all excited about it. We're talking about it. But something that I would love to see is that if they don't kill Kymer's character, I would love to see a potential show called The Stranger, and then it's just about Kymer, and just kind of his
stranger danger.
Well, I mean, his character is referred to as the Stranger, so it's just
I see where you're coming from.
What do you want the show to be called? Kymer? I mean, I just don't think that's more. I mean, I think
a Star Wars story.
Okay, Greg, I'm sorry you don't like my idea. I'm sorry. I just
Kymer, the Star Wars story.
Yeah.
So TJ says on YouTube, but no, I meant that we don't let or get to see the show until 8 a.m. I wasn't lying. That was just taken out of context.
All right, TJ, we love you coming on every week and just messing with us. It's a great time. Thank you for being a fan. We appreciate you.
Thank you for everything. So Colin has enabled us to be on Instagram tonight. So everyone watching us on Instagram.
Yeah.
I think the feed is going to shut down though because Instagram only allows us to be on for an hour. Right?
They're like, we've had enough of you people. We've had enough.
All right. So, what is our final verdict on this episode? What does everyone score? 1 out of 10.
I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I will give
really
it a.
Liked it.
Yeah.
I like the pieces of the puzzle coming together. It wasn't black and white. For me, it was like the Jedi had noble intentions, but then they covered up in an not so good way.
Yeah. I agree with that. I could give it an 8 too. Zach, what are you thinking?
I'm floating between like a 7, 7.5. I agree with what you guys are saying, but like the next episode when that comes out and we've got the whole first season, I think I'll need to run through all my episode ratings again and kind of buff them up a little bit, or I guess change them accordingly. How about that? Because I think my opinion of episode 3 has changed a lot based on tonight, and maybe that the next episode could change a lot too. But I'm sitting at a 7, 7.5. But I'll go with a 7. That's my final answer.
All right. So on average, like a high 7, I think.
Yeah, good. Thumbs up overall.
Yeah. Obi Fluff Kenobi on YouTube says May raging on the control panel made me laugh. Reminded me of how Kylo and his tantrums. Yeah, I kind of missed that. I like that aspect of The Force Awakens when he would just start raging, and it's like I could totally see that.
It cuts to the officer, and he's like just kind of tweaking back.
Musup Yoda on YouTube says Darth Jaws. That's another nickname for Spilo Ren there. The man behind the mask, I guess that's his title. Great pre-post show this week, guys. 9 out of 10 simply because we got more Brendock backstory.
Which was cool.
I think that's what we were all thinking, that Brendock was going to loom large. And we've waited the whole season to kind of get this episode. So I'm
going to give it an 8.5. because I'm just gonna say it. Kel
'Cause the
Naka
Wookiee.
was the yes.
Our new
He-
unofficial
yeah.
mascot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he is just
So
fantastic.
who is it? Rebo or Kelnaka, Colin?
Max Rebo all the way, all the way, all the way. I love Kanaka. I haven't had enough time with him, but
I think if you think back, we've had more screen time with Kelnaka than we've had with Max Rebo.
That
think
is
about it.
pretty fair.
of what you say is true from a certain point of view, but we have more content of Max Rebo from the different books, comics, toys, and all that stuff. So I'm gonna have to lean towards more Max Rebo just because he is my boy. And soon, this is kind of advertisement. I have a great friend. Her name is Stax Rebo, and her and I are actually going to be having a debate about Max Rebo for an hour about if Max Rebo actually has 4 limbs or he's just got 2. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But yeah, it's
TJ, better
it's gonna
pull
be
up to
great.
that.
So when you come to SpaceCon in October, Colin, you're gonna have to get at the freeway intersection and wear a sign or hold up a sign that says "We'll argue about Max Rebo's appendages with you for food" or something.
It's like
You have
that
no
meme
idea.
with the guy sitting at the chair.
So
Changed
dude.
my mind.
Yeah.
We need one
I
of
will
Colin's,
be-
like Max Rebo has 4 appendages. Changed my mind.
That's gotta
I
be a
will
meme. We gotta
be-
create that meme now.
Well, it's it's so funny because I'll be at conventions. I'll be like, I'll be going to Disney. I will even be at the grocery store. Someone that listens to the podcast or follows me on social media will like come up and be like, listen, Max Rebo's got 2 legs. I'm like, what? And then I'm just like, oh, okay. And then we just have this conversation like in public, and it's just the funniest thing. So yeah, it's fun. Oh man.
Yeah, Adam Locke on YouTube says 7.5 for the cool saber stuff. Don't love all the acting from the twins and witches. Didn't in episode 3 either, but love the rest. I don't see like bad acting. I don't know what it is. I mean, a lot of people are stating that, and I'm like, I
didn't love Coral, but I
don't know. To me, it's like she's a witch. She's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
You know.
And she's foreign too. I mean, like I said, English isn't her first language. N Roberts 479 says on YouTube, I give it an 8.5. This episode did answer a lot of questions. That's what we were looking for. Noah Richer on YouTube says solid 8. Besides some overacting, the only thing that was a little off was a shot of Soul chasing after Torben on the speeder bike. Yeah, it looked a little off. The movement of the speeder bike looked better in Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Obi Fluff Kenobi on YouTube says 7 because I still have so many unanswered questions for the second to last episode. It was a good episode though because of the Raging Wookiee, just like Colin. We need to explore more into these other Force cults. Raging Wookiee is a good handle.
Someone's gonna take that.
Colin
like,
needs
right
to,
now.
Colin needs to copyright that. Raging Wookiee. That's what your other Instagram handle needs to be.
No.
And then you could walk around as a Wookiee with a sign that says "We'll debate for," and then something in the Wookiee tongue.
Sure.
Or whatever, just
Sure.
But
Treewook, yeah. But yeah. Man. Yeah, no, I am excited for I'm excited for next week, just because it's I'm hoping it's gonna wrap up in a way that's gonna satisfy the fans of where it's gonna be like, okay, we have our questions answered. There's hints of a second season, like small hints, like nothing major, where it's like the Nihil have returned or something like that. Like that would be crazy, but I doubt it. But I don't want any big cliffhanger, and that's what they've advertised, where it's gonna be wrapped up in a way where people are gonna be satisfied. And then if it is greenlit for a second season, those hints will most likely pop up.
All right. So let me ask you, what do you guys think? Do you think we will see another Sith, like a Sith master, not like Osha? Do you think we will see Kymir's master?
Like a brand new character.
Or
live
Plagueis?
I want Plagueis so bad, but I don't know if that's in the cards like just yet. I know I've been saying that it's probably going to happen, but it's
I want to
Man.
say there's a 45% chance we get like
Yeah.
a Plagueis Tenebris tie-in.
Yeah. It just makes sense that he would be alive or around this time, and then maybe this whole event is maybe all right. So it's hinted at that there's that line in episode 3, which everyone knows, which is Darth Plagueis was the Dark Lord of the Sith. He even could manipulate midichlorians to
Use
create
the
life.
Force.
Right. So, with that being said, maybe this with Osha and May gives him that inspiration in some way, because in Legends it was kind of hinted at that Darth Plagueis was the one that created Anakin in the Force. So it was never 100% confirmed that actually happened. But if
George said no.
right.
Matt Martin also said no too.
Right. So it was hinted at. So I could see that being, the introduction of Plagueis coming in and being like, you know what, I'm really intrigued by this. And then that could be them putting Darth Plagueis into the story. I think that would be a really, really great idea. And I think the fans will love having Darth Plagueis finally seen on screen. If you guys haven't read the book, go read it. It's not canon, it's Legends, but it's still a great book. But yeah.
Yeah.
So does anybody want to make a full-on prediction, yes or no? Zach, what do you say? Do we see him, yes or no?
No.
I think my main prediction is that Osha's going to kill May. I think that's something that's going to happen. I think Osha's going to fall down the path of the dark side.
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, guys. Yeah, last comment here. Spicy Flygon on YouTube says 6, because even though we got a lot of answers we wanted, there's still a lot of review duplication from episode 3 that felt slow at times. This should have been episode 3 all along. Well, they're doing the whole Rashomon thing. I mean, that's like an artistic choice on behalf of the creators there. So
yes,
yeah, that's what they're kind of doing, kind of showing, like doing an homage almost in a way to Kurosawa.
Yeah.
So yeah, we still getting comments in here. Owe Fluff Kenobi on YouTube says Osha wants revenge, May wants justice.
Because Osha doesn't know the full story. Like, she does not know everything that actually happened. She never got told what May was told by Saul. So
yeah. And she
You
looked
know,
like she had
it's
second
interesting.
thoughts with the fire once that spread was spreading at her feet.
Yep.
One last thing before we go here. Leslie said we were going to see a lot of new characters after that episode where all of our main characters have died, but we really haven't. We've seen some more of Valestra and Mog. She made it feel like we were going to see a lot new characters because of these new all the deaths.
Yeah. There is a lot of ground that they got to cover in that last episode. I'm just gonna be. I really hope of what Leslie said was true, because if they do leave on a cliffhanger where there's a lot of questions that are unanswered,
we're never gonna trust her again.
well, I'll just be like, we're gonna have to wait for a couple of years for when things kind of settle down, and then they'll be like, all right, so this was gonna be the story for season 2. And then we would have been like, oh man, that would have been so cool to see on screen. So hopefully everything just kind of, ends the way that Leslie said that this season would wrap up. But, here's hoping.
Yeah.
Speaking of wrap up, I do have to go, guys. I will see you guys next week. It was a great episode tonight. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, man.
Take care, Craig.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks, Craig.
Bye.
You too.
All right. Well, yeah, we're getting in more comments here, but I think we're going to call it an episode as well.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. And yeah, thanks for everyone in the chat joining us tonight. I mean, so many different people have commented, which is what we want. We love everyone's opinions, and we get to talk to them. Jordy, 1994, Noah Richard, Dooku Gato, I love that name. Moose Soup Yoda, of course. Obi Fluff Kenobi, TJ, of course. Revo Craft, Spicy Flagon, Dandelion, just some of the names here. Awesome contribution here. So I do want to say that we're going to end this stream, but I'm going to jump on Countdown City Geeks here and drop a big announcement for the Star Stuff podcast. If you saw the pre-show, you kind of heard it, but I'm going to talk a little bit about that there. And guys, is there anything else you guys want to talk about, Colin and Zach?
No.
Keep an eye on your bingo cards, and we'll talk more about that next week.
Yeah, for sure. So for Zach and Colin, my name is David. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be doing a breakdown and Easter egg hunt, I believe tomorrow or the day after. Probably tomorrow, because I think there's a lot of stuff that people want to go over and revise, and we'll have a lot more time to rewatch the episodes. So thank you so much, and may the Force be with you.
Always.